Our immortal souls are on a constant journey from eternity through infinity to the source. And at this point in time, we find ourselves on earth and in a human form. But what about our real identity? Have you ever paused to wonder who we are? Right from the greatest seekers to the common man, the quest for one's identity has always echoed in human minds across space and time. Only those who resolved firmly and dared to find the answer could find the revelation of self and connection to their source.
I used to be extremely critical of spirituality. I felt it was for the weak-hearted who had problems in their life. Spirituality served as an effective medicine to forget their problems and not actually solve them.
I lost my mom. I was completely shattered. She was everything to me. As a single mother, she was the greatest support that I had. I could not sleep for months together. I didn't know where to go, whom to talk to. I started reading all kinds of books to cope up with the situation. I was looking for answers, for which I did not even have questions.
I felt I needed an explanation, logical explanation for everything. And science was the only solution to all these problems. Little did I know what I was missing out on.
Various factors influence human consciousness, and over time, they cause one to drift from the real source. All these factors and many more turn into impressions which govern one's personality and existence. When the chaos of pseudo-identities reaches a saturation point, seeking one's true identity becomes very strong. Finding the focal point of existence and listening to the inner core creates an urge to find a mentor or guide who could help in erasing these deep-rooted impressions to cleanse the set pattern of thinking, feeling, doing.
Soul is on infinite journey from eternity to source. Why this journey is there? Because we have gathered some impression over the time when we started. When we started the journey, there were no impressions. We were as pure as we were born. We were there with the God. But on the way, we have slowly gathered some impressions. That is why we need to clean those impressions and become the same again as we are. So that is why we call it journey. Otherwise, eternity, whether you call it a journey or a stage, the words do not make any difference. Because beyond time and space, there is no meaning whether it is a journey or whether it is a station, your home. So both things are same. But since we have gathered these impressions, and those impressions we begin to think that these are our real identities, which are not. These are merely roles which we are playing. That is why this world, this creation has been called as Leela, the play. Those who realized it as this is merely a play meant for our cleaning and reaching back to our home. So those who realized, they also told this to others that it is their duty to impart the same knowledge to others. It is their duty to help others to reach their home. So they, for the sake of understanding, they devised 4 ways of describing it so that everybody could understand their position. So they say, no, your physical being is one identity which everyone can easily identify with. Then they say your mental body is another identity. Then the third thing, the self is your third identity. And then is the soul, the same identity where everybody's identity is same. So to make it much more clear, we devise certain allegories, certain ways, certain descriptions that how to make. So we begin with hunger and thirst, which are basic things. Human being is driven by fear, hunger, and finally by devotion. But some choose, very rarely people reach to the stage where they become devotee. Mostly they are driven by their fear and ambitions and such other things. So we say basic things, hunger. So at bodily level we know what hunger is, what thirst is. Nobody needs to tell you, the moment you feel hungry, you go and take your grab. The moment you feel thirsty, you look for water. But what about the hungers at the mind level? When this question arises before you, who am I? Who I really am? That is when you start looking and seeking. Then the thirst at mind level is different of knowing because every one of you know before taking birth, you were not here. After so-called death, you won't be here. But what for this middle space is there? If it is meant only for eating, drinking and sleeping, what is it? It is the only thing which we need to do. So when we say that this couldn't have been the purpose of the creator, because this kind of creator doesn't sound very wise, who gives you this much space just to eat, drink and sleep. There must be some purpose behind it. So then slowly those who discovered, they say, no, there is an aim in life. And life in aim is knowing your divine dimensions, which each one of you have, because essentially you are divine. So how to know that divinity? Divinity is when you start following your human values, then it starts coming from inside you, because it is already there. So that is one thing. So reaching to your ultimate divinity is the goal of life. Why reaching? Because you have forgotten it. It is already there, but you have forgotten. That is where the role of Sahaj Smriti Yog comes.
Only after I started conversing with Guruji did he help me discover my spiritual side. I used to go to him on a weekly basis, and I did this for almost a year, but I did not get initiated under him. My wife got initiated under him before me, and only after I saw the amazing transformation in her behavior did I realize what access to a living Guru can help someone spiritually.
One of the many things that attracted me to this path was Guruji saying, you need not believe anything that I say. You experience it and make it your own. As a curious seeker, I was very excited to start this journey into the unknown.
It can become quite difficult when you don't know what the journey is about. But when you have somebody to guide you and hold your hand and help you along the way, the path becomes very easy.
During the initiation, it was like a renewal, like a reclamation of my true self. Post-initiation, I have experienced amazing changes. To mention a few, one of them is my relationship with my daughter. She's a teenager. So this is an area of my life where I have been struggling and trying different things to have a good relationship with her. But it was all in vain. But post-initiation, I have noticed that I am sharing a wonderful rapport with her and I'm able to communicate and we understand each other. So that is one area which has amazed me. The other thing is I have a habit of procrastinating. So whenever there are some tasks to do at hand, I would go into thinking and postponing. But now if there is something to be done, I get down to doing it immediately, which is no less than a miracle for me.
We all want a miracle. And we have been conditioned to believe that lifting a Govardhan hill is the kind of miracle. But for me, meeting my Guruji itself is a miracle. Since then, the life has turned around. I got a whole new perspective and meaning to my life. I finally got myself and purpose of my life. I'm blessed and grateful that I've met Guruji and started my spiritual journey.
It has been a good journey for nearly 2 months now. A lot of good positive things were about how I manage myself. There are several of instances where how I responded to people surprised me. So this I see a lot of benefits in both how I deal with people and how I manage myself. This I'm trying to get into a kind of a regular routine like all others who are leading the light in this and helping people to improve. I definitely vouch for this and definitely want everybody to get initiated and start into this meditation practice.
For me, the relationship with every aspects of life, correct, be it job or my husband or the children's or every people around me. Now I could connect to them in a very different perspective. And for one thing I could say is like my teenage son, again my daughter, the way I connect to them, they are taking a very different leadership and they can be on their own.
And I have really felt that in the past 3 years, my life has transformed a lot. Life is more peaceful. The amount of fights which I have with my family and in my workplace, that has reduced a lot. So these are all something which are the visual benefits that I have got out of the meditation.
എനിക്കിവിടെ വന്ന് പോണതിന് ശേഷം മനസ്സ് വല്ലാതെ അമതിയായിരിക്കും. ആരെന്ത് പറഞ്ഞാലും ഒന്നും എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിൽ തോന്നാറില്ല. മുമ്പൊക്കെ വളരെ വശമായിരിക്കും, എല്ലാത്തിനും വശമായിരിക്കും. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ മെഡിറ്റേഷൻ തുടങ്ങിയതിന് ശേഷം നല്ല അമൈതി, നല്ല ഒരു ചൂഴ്നില എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Spirituality is a self journey where the path is chosen to move towards the source. However, there are deeper dimensions to this path. Our path is a spiritual path along with a social cause where upholding human dignity and giving voice to the lesser privileged of the society is something that is equally close to our heart. This social responsibility has resulted in an NGO called Unifold. We at Unifold have successfully taken up many social projects, and there are also many more in the pipeline.
Unifold was found in the year 2002 to give a practical shape to Guru's vision. We have been doing various activities in the society. Now if you look at science and technology has brought in a lot of impact to the way we live, and a lot of things have changed. This has definitely given a positive impact, but if you really look at it, it has another aspect. The key elements that control the human life, the decision has gone into very few hands. So for a person, there are 4 things which Guruji explained, which is right thing, right food to the body, right food to the mind, right food to the self, and right food to the soul. So for an individual, now he has limited choices available. Though there are variety of things to choose from, there are hardly any alternatives. So if you really need to choose the right way of living, there is a transformation that is needed. For the transformation to happen, one has to have a sense of empowerment as well as sustainability, without which it becomes very difficult. So with the focus of giving this idea a shape, we are starting an ashram in Krishnagiri district, a place called Urigam. It's about 100 kilometers from Bangalore. So this will have all these 4 centers which would focus on these 4 aspects. So right food to the body, that is where our natural farming center will take care of that. And we also have a Gurukul and as well as an old age home which would kind of help people to bring in the self aspect as well as the right food to the mind, and a meditation hall which really help people to walk the path of Sahaj Smriti Yog. This center that we are setting up is our journey towards that direction, and this is a model that can be replicated across the globe without any geographical boundaries. And this enables us to move towards our direction of walk the path of Sahaj Smriti Yog and walk towards the source.
Purity and sanctity mean a lot for the spiritual seeker, which is why we at Unifood believe that while pure food is important for the body, the mind, and the self, there is nothing more important than pure food for the soul.
Food for the soul. What is the food for the soul? Soul survives only on the super soul. It doesn't need anything else. So love is its diet. Love is what it gives. So soul at the self level, it is character, your character, what choices you make. So that at that level, you are giving that food. And the mind level, you want to understand what is happening intellectually around you. You want to understand everything. So that food at the mind level is intellect. That at the body level, then food is what? These days, you hardly have a choice. If you go to the market, you find everything adulterated. You go and buy an apple, it will invariably be waxed. There will be a layer of wax over it. You cannot eat it. Though you want to pay for it, you want to eat the pure fruit, but you do not have availability. So we have to do something so that pure food as a choice exists there where you can exercise it. That availability is there, you can eat. Then availability at the mind level, the pure understanding is there. Then availability at the self level and the soul level. So these all things are taken care into the Sahaj Smriti Yog. Sahaj Smriti Yog is simply walking back to your source.
Our unique project will pave the way to take a seeker closer to the chosen path of connecting to the source.